Okay, here's the deal. Drawing and painting is difficult, but that's what makes it so rewarding when you finally get a painting or a drawing that works out and you get that rush of, wow, that's something really beautiful that I created. Um, but often it doesn't work out that way. So on this episode, I'd like to try something a little different. I'm going to show you a video of a painting I did that I just feel like I struggled the entire way through it. I feel like there were some parts of it that ended up being somewhat successful. There are other parts that I'm just not happy with. And the more I look at it, the more I kind of shake my head with, wow, man, that painting was a struggle. But anyway, I want to take you through this, and I'm going to talk a little bit as we go through the time lapse. And I just want to show and talk about some of the things that maybe I would try to do differently next time. But we always tend to be our own harshest critics, so it's important just to enjoy the whole process, even when it's not going exactly how you imagined it in your mind when you first get started. So the first sign of trouble that I had in this painting are these feet and legs that I'm drawing a line work on right now. And I realized after, the problem was I was drawing what I thought they should look like instead of looking at my reference photo. I'm drawing this and doing this painting from a photograph I took of a ruby crowned kinglet outside of our front in our front yard, and I wasn't looking at the reference material. I was just drawing what I thought bird feet were supposed to look like, and that's always a big mistake. I have to constantly remind myself to draw what I see and not what I think I see. Luckily, right here, I caught a mistake I'd made on the shape of the eye, and I was able to correct it and move on. So the reference photo I'm using is black and white, and I knew from the beginning I wanted to do a monochromatic painting and just play around with the values and see if I could get an interesting painting out of just one color, just using value. And as I'm doing the background here, I'm not seeing any major problems, and I'm enjoying it, and I think it's going well. Later on, you'll see that I changed my mind about the background style, and that's okay. Um, but it's just another aspect of this painting that just didn't feel right. The further I got into it, it just didn't feel quite right, and you'll see how I adjust that a little bit later on. As I start laying down the first layer of paint on the bird itself, you'll notice I leave this little halo around the bird, and sometimes that can look really cool. In this painting, it didn't work for me, and you'll see that I get rid of that. And yep, here's some more of those silly feet. By the end of the painting, I think they resolve themselves okay, but they bug me the whole time I'm working on this. As I'm laying down more layers in the background to darken that value, I'm starting to feel like the background just isn't working. It's too mottled and too busy. I'm often guilty of overworking a painting, and at this point, I'm starting to think maybe I should have just left it alone and maybe called it good. But once you start down this path, it's hard to stop, and so I just keep going, and well, we'll see how it turns out. And now I say to myself, I know what'll fix this. A little charcoal pencil. Seems like it's kind of my go-to saving grace is line work. But I'm really just digging a deeper hole for myself. And here's some more of that busy background, and it's just not helping. It's competing too much with the foreground. This is me trying to erase or at least soften some of that charcoal work I was doing. My best friend in these watercolor paintings is the white charcoal pencil. It can really save your bacon, especially on some of these darker paintings. I think I used it to varying degrees of success on this. Some of the line work ends up looking a little juvenile, especially those highlights on the wing where I was trying to define some of those feathers. It looks a little, I don't know, a little fakey, but it can really help bring out a lot of dimension when you're working with value. This is when I really start to attempt to address the background. And what I'm doing here is just putting on just clean water, trying to smooth it out, trying to blend it a little bit more in the hopes that it'll be a little bit less distracting. So I'm doing a little bit more of a wash, trying to darken it up a little bit, smooth it out. I also start to wash the feet out just a little bit. I think that helps, and it's not too far off from the actual reference photo. This is a scan of the final painting after everything's dried and set. And even though I'm not super ecstatic with the final product on this painting, I still feel like I learned some. And every time you do a painting or drawing, it's valuable. There's reward in just the sheer act of creating, apart from the practice and the improvement that will come with time. So I'm going to chalk this one up as a learning experience, and we'll just keep going. Remember to enjoy the process, and if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. That helps get things rolling on this new channel. Thanks so much for watching.